All right, all right. We are live. I've got really exciting announcement today. I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
All right. We are live.
I'm gonna turn off my phone. What I'm gonna do first is add guest number one, Mr. Jay Kinder. Jay, like myself, is a SOB. I learned, right?
Yep.
Number two in the world, Coldwell banker. You did that multiple times, co-founder AEA, and business partner.
Yep.
Over at eXp. Right? Welcome, Jay.
Love it. Hey, glad to be here. I'm really excited about this one.
Yes. So our guest today, I've known for 16 years. I think I've seen him come into the business or really near his start in real estate. And, since then, he's just been, on the rise. And he's won awards at every brokerage he's been in. He's, top a platinum award at KW. When I met him, he was single. Now he's got a beautiful family, 3 kids. I'm so excited to introduce him. As of 10:52 a.m. today, he was just licensed with eXp Realty. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Mr. Joe Lebron. Joe, welcome. Congratulations.
Thanks, Vin. Thanks, Jay, for being here. I appreciate you guys taking the time out.
Yeah, we're happy. We're very happy to be here. Very happy to be in business with you.
Yes.
Never been more thrilled. Never.
Joe, I've known you for a long time. I've kind of followed your career, but let some of our viewers know a little bit about you, please.
Sure. Well, I've been in the business now since 2003. I had a great start to my career when I decided to get into real estate in 2003. I was about 21 years old and brand new to the world of employment to begin with, and decided to take a chance and a bet on myself. And I decided to align myself with a local top producing agent who decided to launch an industry platform, an industry model, a very reputable company by the name of actually Exit Realty. And that was a great time for me. I really had a great career there. I learned some amazing things. I was able to be introduced to some incredible leaders, all the way from the CEO, all the way down to the amazing coaches that I was able to, have pour into me, whether it be, even the late, great Bill Nasby here and, Steve Morris and many other people who have contributed to who I am today. And so I was there about 7 years with Exit Realty. I became a top producer, I would say, in about 2 years under the leadership of the mega agent I was working with on their team. And had a good run there. Actually went out on my own in 2008. Purchased a franchise, Exit Realty, and Vin, you remember? I'm sure you can attest to that. Those were some tough times in real estate in 2008. So it wasn't the right time. Great model. Certainly gave me a lot of perspective, and to be honest with you, really taught me and introduced culture and the idea behind it and how it's created, how it's nurtured. What the pillars really are of it. And that left me, that company left me with a lot of things that I would take on and further into my career. So shortly after opening the brokerage, I realized that owning a real estate company happens to be one of the most overrated titles in the entire real estate industry. Not knowing that, young and naive, I decided to take a chance. And shortly thereafter, realizing that I lost my best salesperson myself, and in the middle of probably one of the largest economic crises in modern American history, I decided that was no longer for me. After 18 months, I decided to go back into the field I sold the franchise and moved on. I actually left Exit Realty that year, and that was very tough for me because anytime you build an amazing organization of leaders and people that you come to know and trust and like, walking away from that was a challenge. And so I needed to step out of the ownership world. I also needed to step out of the franchise world for a moment. And believe it or not, right after that, I actually joined an independent, a small independent here in Staten Island, who actually used to be a broker owner with and franchise owner with Exit Realty, a good friend, dear friend of mine, Eli Ruiz. Papa Bear, if you're listening, I appreciate everything you've poured out. And I had a good time with Papa Bear. He actually, a part I left out, my lovely wife, Jackie, was actually a product of, my time with Exit. I actually met her at an Exit training, and we were able to fall madly in love with each other. And so I left that company with some great things, and best of all being, my soulmate, Jackie. We produced 3 beautiful children, and, I couldn't be more grateful and thankful to that organization. But then I decided to go out and follow this friend of mine into the independent world. He had left the industry as well, the franchise industry, and decided to be an independent. And so I trusted that, this transition that I was going to go at, him being a good friend, that I was in good care, and I was. And that particular part of this journey enlightened me to 2 things. One, I am the one who is responsible for my own future, and to rely on someone else or another broker or brokerage to ensure my survival it wasn't about the company at that point. It really started to give me some perspective that everything that I had been becoming for the past 7 or 8 years was preparing me for where I was going next. And I was recruited by heavy company here on Staten Island, the Remax office at the time. And this was 2011, I believe. And I decided that I was going to join that company. Excuse me. And it was great. I had a great 7 years with the Remax franchise, another great model that has certainly served the industry for its purpose and where it the issues that solved, and maximized my real estate commissions there. I had a great career and, another 7-year run. Great leaders at that company. I was, fortunate to be around some of the top talent in the business in real estate in our local market, some mega teams, some mega agents, and we were kicking butt there. The synergy there was incredible. If there's one thing that I can tell you I took from that model and that environment was that, and again, CEO Steve Morris mentioned this to me when I was a young man, that competition is a good thing, okay? But severe competition is a blessing. And whether it's sports, real estate, or any particular walk of life, I believe that, the more competition or the more you throw yourself in the pit with other professionals of comparable quality, wolves, you become your environment. And it pushes you outside of your comfort zone in a way that you'll never be able to do, having not had those leaders and those particular people in your world that can force you to show up to be the best you could be every day. The scoreboard's always changing. So an opportunity came in 2017 where the office I was a part of was going through some changes. And we were in the midst of figuring out what we were going to do as top producers for that company and where we saw our next step being. And that was tough for me as well, because again, I made great relationships there. The leader of that company, Sal Calabrese, I owe a lot to. He's been a very, very instrumental part of who I am today in those 7 years, what I've picked up from him as a savvy business owner and a good man with a great heart. It's that I'm always thankful for, because that's part of who I am. But sooner or later, I decided that, with the changes that we were about to go through, that this was shaking me up and realizing that God wanted me to change again. And, he was pushing me into my uncomfortable zone again for a reason. I didn't know necessarily at that moment why. And then a company by the name of Keller Williams decided that they were going to make an attempt to move into the New York market. And this was in 2017, early 2017, and decided that they were going to seek out top producers in the local market to form a core of top agents to form this company with, and figure out how to put the moving parts together so that they can launch and take territory, take market share quickly. I joined that company shortly thereafter. We made some great relationships there as well. That model and following, Gary Keller's vision has always been something that has helped to develop this next level of a career that I've put together and that we've built at Keller Williams. So the beauty about it was that when we left Remax, we went over to Keller Williams. It was just myself, and we had one assistant and a buyer's agent. Two buyer's agents, actually. Robert Sika, Cheryl Wheeler, Taratko, and then my assistant and transaction manager, Roberta. And we came over in 2017, and as of recently, we've scaled that team in terms of members and production. In 2018, we ended with, I believe, 12 real estate agents on the team, 2 full-time assistants. In the past 12 months, we've actually closed $43 million in volume and been responsible for over 100 transactions. So we had scaled and we did really well, but we hit some ceilings along the way. And as great as the model was, it exposed some things to me that really gave me the opportunity to take another good look at my business and figure out, or my team's business as well, and our operation and what we've built, take account of the stock in that and figure out what the next step was for us as a team and myself as a leader, and to try to determine, which direction we were going to go in. And it's amazing how opportunities come at almost like divine intervention in life. And I'm a big spiritual person. I don't consider myself necessarily a religious person, but I do believe that from a spiritual perspective, if your mind is open to changes and that you're clear about where you intend to see yourself in the future, that those doors will open, those leaders will present themselves. And I'm a student of the real estate business. I've invested over $250,000, almost probably more than $300,000 just in coaching in the past over a decade. And some things really gave me some clarity with the coaching, Keller Williams MAPS coaching as well. It revealed some things that I really needed to address. And, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And some amazing people began to enter my life. And I don't even know if intentionally pour into me, because it wasn't. I don't believe they were even realizing that I was watching them. However, I was paying a close attention to some other leaders in my world and in my local market and some major markets across North America. And I started to realize that, we were all really having a very comparable issue. And, it wasn't necessarily our organization's fault. They had provided a model based off of what they were capable of providing at the time. And they were all great for their time. And I realized that, there was a crossroads coming when I couldn't really break through a ceiling and make changes so that they would not only benefit me in the growth that we're experiencing but more importantly for the team and the leaders that I've been developed and committed to developing over the past 3 years now, since almost 3 years since we started this team. And so here we are.
So, how long have you been checking out eXp Realty?
Actually, it couldn't be more than 2 weeks at this point. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never considered myself ready to leave what I've been building, where I've been building. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of what we've been able to do with such a young, amazing, talented team. We really have some great things ahead of us. And, when I took a closer look at the industry and what was happening, and I saw that, eXp was making probably one of the most impressive runs that I've noticed in my 16 years in the real estate industry. And, it's one thing to grow and grow at rapid speeds. Vin, we grew Exit Realty really fast in New York City. It snowballed. And but like all good things, they sometimes have to come to an end. And, you know, I started to realize that this particular opportunity was growing not only fast with agent count, and being accepted by the industry in major markets across North America, but more importantly, who was aligning with these people and this opportunity. And, you know, at first, it was probably 6 or 8 months ago that I was introduced to the company, and I had blinders on because, you know, Jay and Vin, when you're tunnel vision in the direction that you're going, and you mean business, no one's going to distract you and try to take you out of your game, right?
That's it. When your gate's not open, doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
So I was in that zone, and I was growing and pouring into my leaders, finding leaders to pour into me. And so while that was all going on, I started to realize that the talent that was coming over to this company was impressive, and the leaders and their marks on the industry in many different markets across North America were they were willing to bet it all and leave gigantic empires and businesses that were just so incredibly large. You almost wonder what could possibly have been better than what they've built. And as I looked closer and I started to follow you, Jay, and one day, you know, I was on Facebook and I saw a post, and it was Vinny's post. Vinny, you know, you posted that you were the 20,000th agent to join eXp Realty. And congratulations on that, by the way. When I noticed that happen, I was shocked. Having known Vinny personally and had some endeavors in our careers together, that really had me questioning, what am I missing? Or maybe I need to take a closer look at what some other folks have really decided have been worth risking it all, and diving in.
It was
So,
that
Vin,
Vin, you first reached out to me.
Yeah.
And we started.
It was then that I reached out to you, Vin, and I don't know if you remember what I said to you, but I believe it was along the lines of, Vin, what the hell are you doing?
It might have been exactly that. Yeah. And I
was
didn't
really taken back by that.
Yeah.
I was very taken back.
I really didn't spend too much time with you. I just said, you know, take a look for yourself and we'll connect in a few days. And that's what we did.
We did. And I got to be honest with you, Vin. Those may have been the longest 3 days of my life. Okay? Because every day I began to take a look at this thing, I started to lose more and more sleep.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, this message, we were doing really well. We were winning. But when I saw what I was being presented with and the opportunities that you, Jay, and Vin have committed to, it was a no-brainer, guys. I started to realize that Vincent was, while always had been an industry leader and paved some path in New York with a great model and had tremendous success from it, had no real reason to look back. When I saw that, I said, Vincent is a brilliant man, and I have tremendous respect for him as a friend and as a professional. And I said, I think I need to speak to some other people. And as much as I trusted you, Vin, you know how our business is. We're going to dissect things over and over and over again before we put our names, our reputation, and the things we've built and the leaders that we're developing that are following this, what we're building. I started to realize I need to look at the rest of, I need to get on the phone with some other folks. And, you know, Jay, you were very instrumental in giving me a clear picture and, you know, providing a lot of clarity. Some of the folks in regional were very supportive in giving me the information that I needed, answering the questions almost instantly. And the level of transparency that I started to realize existed with this company really started to get me excited because, you know, everybody wants to be a part of something special, okay? And everyone deserves that opportunity. And I started to compare the opportunity that I was currently given and utilizing. And And I started to compare that, or at least pros and cons, and compare the models. And just from a math perspective, it really just blew my mind how much we were leaving on the table. And, not only how much we were leaving on the table, first it made me take a really good close look, because I think as top agents in the business, it's very easy to get tunnel vision as to where you're going and what you're building and what you haven't accomplished yet. Mm-hmm. And then that could oftentimes get you, and this is why a good coach is very critical to a high level producer. It's very easy to lose sight of what you've done. And it's like airplanes have no rear view mirrors, right? It's hard to look back unless you gotta intentionally do that. And it made me intentionally look back on the past 12 months. And I was super impressed with what we were able to build, not necessarily being in the company of such amazing talent and winners to bump elbows with, right? And I've always been concerned of whose leadership inspires me. And that's always been important to me. Anyone who knows me knows that, I call myself not your average Joe, but part of that reason is because I don't seek to look at real estate and my place in it as being considered average. And so I've always seeked the professions, or the coaching of people in the profession who have careers that I'd be willing to trade places with, and have built amazing things. And more importantly, the leaders that they've developed under their vision and what they've been able to accomplish. So starting to get involved with eXp and the dialogue that I was involved with such high level industry influencers, and I hadn't even been part of the company yet. And anybody that knows, when you get around, or when you find a community of influencers and leaders, or you enter a world of leaders, whether it be through coaching or whatever mastermind networks we may encounter, that it's not easy to get to the top. You really have to jump through hoops. Some organizations make it a lot easier than others. This particular organization made it very clear that, the people who are probably the largest assets of the company in terms of what value they've brought to the model, either in the beginning or just recently, that those people were willing to get on the phone with me and offer me free coaching. And I got to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a student of the game. The past 12 months, I've paid, a coach every month and I've been for over a decade. And I started to compare and realize that I've been being coached by professionals on a much higher scale than even the coaches that were coaching me over the past few years, and all for free. So it really got my attention that I could be onto something really big here, where, not only from a model perspective, but also from a value perspective, and what you're getting from this new community. And it's not just the model and the toys and the tech and that, however, more importantly, was the vision of everyone that was willing to share and roll their sleeves up and figure out how to make sure that I understood the value, which was very, very easy to understand, but also to understand that I had their support and their backing. And so to align with such amazing people from all over the country, whether it be Vincent locally, UJ out in, where is it, Oklahoma?
Yeah,
Texas?
in Dallas now, yeah.
Dallas. And people all across the Eastern Seaboard, all the way out to California. It's been amazing, the level of attention that people were willing to give me. And look, I consider myself the low man on the totem pole, right? We're talking about people who have scaled teams and businesses and operations over a 5, 10, 15-year period, have much more experience than I. And these folks were just an open book. I mean, the playbooks continue to open up larger than I've ever seen anyone willing to share. And even in organizations where I was paying $1,000 a month to get a look into playbooks. So it became very, very clear to me as I started to embark on this, that, not only was I onto something where I was looking to go, but my team was going to have the opportunity now to align with people of comparable quality to me and UJ and Vin, and then, have them at their disposal as well. so that we could really start to synergize with people who are pushing us more out of our comfort zone, but through a friendly competition network. And we're all sharing the same vision and really being wanting to show up as the leaders in our respective markets that we've all seen in each other. That common growth mindset.
Well, you articulate the opportunity so well, and I think that it's really easy for a lot of the teams, a lot of the top producers to go out there and see it. What I want to explore is that you mentioned before that there was a ceiling that you hit, as a large team. I want you to go down that route first.
Right. So I think anyone that has experience in starting a team, growing a team, and then managing and scaling a team can, and there's not very many people in my local market who are actually, now there are some teams, but remember in our industry, there are differences in teams. You have domestic teams, husband and wife, you have, some teams of, usually what looks like groups of people that are running around and calling themselves teams. And then, and rightfully so, they don't have a model yet. They're still looking for the right systems and models. And then you also have every now and throughout the industry, but very far less here locally, is teams that are actually operationalized and have put staff in place and have provided a value network for their team. And so as I started to grow that team, which really wasn't possible in my last model, but this particular venture had made it possible for me to now, follow the red book, right, and start to grow and start to build my team and level up. And so as that happens, naturally, you start to realize that as you develop as a leader, so does the leaders that you're developing. And
but
that's
Joe,
just
when you say that there's limitations in what you've grown your team to 10, 12 agents in your last company, but you say you're limited in going beyond that. What does that mean?
Well, if you're a team owner, you have to take a lot of risk, right? And what I mean by risk is, there's financial in terms of monetary risk, but more importantly than money, that money comes and goes, is time and commitment to developing people. And as you do that and you lose more of your time, you start to weigh the cost, benefit, and the profit and loss. And you start to realize that, as a top agent, what your time is worth. Out prospecting, lead generating, negotiating contracts, making it rain, right? And producing, putting the numbers up. So that's always been the most profitable avenue that you should be investing your time, at least a good portion of your time, into. But then you start to realize that this team that you've now committed to developing, and when you commit the right way, it sucks your time away. And so you're always going to have to stop at certain points throughout that team development and examine profit, right? And as we started to develop and grow this team and examine profit, we started to realize that a lot of the profits that we were producing as a team and individually, that those as we started to do the numbers and figure out how we could modify things so that agents that were doing well on the team could start to now be given more opportunities, maybe an advanced split depending on production. And we really wanted to make sure that the model continued to grow and evolve to allow for not only me to continue to bring in and develop new people, but to have a platform in order for the people we develop to stay, to want to stay, and to, most importantly, maximize their profits. And usually when I was hitting the ceilings I'm talking about, Vin, it was for profit. I started realizing that a lion's share of the profit was going to an avenue that wasn't providing value any longer. And as the leader that I became, and I started to become and grow as, I started to provide the value accordingly to my team and to my staff. And it became more clear over time that the brick and mortar that was actually getting a lion's share of the profits really just, and not by any fault of their own, wasn't capable of providing enough of a level of value for me to feel comfortable that it was justifying its existence. And that continues to happen when you're under certain models, right? You think you change things, right? You think you adjust things around, but you still have to be profitable. And then if you don't do it right, it's a very easy thing to mess up and to resent. And when that level of resentment kicks in and you have people who you're responsible for, and you're not capable of getting them what they deserve profit-wise, while also being profitable as the team owner, something needs to be done. And what was happening was we were losing some talent. We were developing and then losing some talent. And it was because the models that we were working under really weren't able to give us the flexibility so that we can reward the production of those who were building this team and company accordingly. And that started to become frustrating. And everyone knows we all want to maximize our return on invested time when we're out there away from our family in the field. You know, the agent, is the backbone of the company. You know, they go out, they sweat, they shed blood, they get punched in the face every day, and they have to come back and take it all over again the next day with a smile on their face. So something was wrong. And I started to realize that eXp was determined, this community of leaders had really set and embarked on a journey that they were to solve issues they were all experiencing. I mean, these aren't company issues. This has nothing to do with the names of any particular companies in the industry, even independents. It's just an industry issue. And that's not something that you can really address unless you're not really, unless you're really willing to think outside of the box. And it became clear that this opportunity and these leaders created something that was a completely new box and exciting. And so that's really where I saw a lot of the issues we were dealing with being solved, and those ceilings now, the roof coming off with this new opportunity.
Yeah, I think some of the changes happened because the company is so, I heard the term agent obsessed, right? All of these changes are all for the benefit of the agent experience. And, as agents or as team leaders, we all kind of run into the same problems. And to know that these problems are being solved, these problems are being actively worked on, that's the company you want to align with. Right now, you transitioned, or you're in the process of transitioning your team. How much adaptation do you have? Is your entire group coming over? You're leaving some behind? What's the story with that?
No, Vin, they're all on board. I shared the vision with them as early as possible because I trust them as well, and I really wanted their honest feedback on what I was looking at here. Jay, probably like you and Vin, when we really be honest and transparent, right? Yeah. You're a very successful man. Vin, you too. And I do well. I'm blessed. I'm eternally grateful for what God has trusted me with. We didn't need this. We didn't need eXp to come along. But we wanted eXp to come along, and we never knew it. We just were figuring out. I feel like we were eXp way before we were eXp, because we've been developing models, systems, and scaling at the level that really required these new ideas to occur. And while we've already been operating in a cloud and we've already been super tech forward and forward thinking, this started to look as though if we were able to get in and we were sure that this was the right way, that we could all now level the playing field and be given the same opportunities that I think we all came into this business for. And it's a shame that, organizations in our industry sometimes provide a lot of opportunity to some and very little to others. And the others deserve it. There's just not enough room at the top for them all. And then as a result, it forces us sometimes to now say, hey, where's my opportunity? Where's my chance? And myself, Jay, I mean, you included, we built really big businesses for some other folks in the past. And there's nothing that hurts more than, putting your 7, 10, whatever years, however long in, and then walking away from that and not having anything to really show for it. I don't think anybody should be in this industry operating in that fashion when there's this type of opportunity with eXp. It's just math.
Right. It is just math.
Yeah.
So, Jay, you've been quiet this whole time.
Yeah, I'm listening, man. I love the way Joe articulates his journey and how he came about, making this, this choice. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a no-brainer for me. And again, I didn't need this, but I really wanted this. I really wanted to provide a platform and an environment for not only me and my team, but the me in 5 or 10 years and my team individually and collectively in 5 and 10 years. And being able to have a presence that's present when I'm not present, that's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we call that legacy.
Yep.
And, as I continue to explore this eXp opportunity, it brought me to the realization, Jay and Vin, that my career was about to evolve into a completely new opportunity, and that, would allow me to serve others in just an incredible and stimulating and rewarding new way. The ones that I'm currently serving, whether it be, clients, but in this case, the team that I've built, the team that I'm going to build, and those families and those lives that have really trusted this vision. This is that vehicle that really gives me that ability. I feel like I just traded in a vehicle, and it was a lease, and now I'm owning this one.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Well said.
I'm excited.
Definitely. Joe, what markets are you in right now? Where's your teamwork at?
So that's Staten Island, New York is our primary market. I've been born and raised in Staten Island. I've lived there my entire life. So went to school here. And then we also service Brooklyn, which is, a stone's throw away over the Verrazano Bridge here. And now we're moving our operation recently into New Jersey. So we're considered the 3 areas of the most movement in this particular area of the country, because folks typically move from Brooklyn to Staten Island when they seek to, explore suburbia, but still be within city limits. It is one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. But then from there, they usually raise a family and decide to experience more suburbia and rural suburbia more. And they go over into New Jersey. So it's the common trend, and we service some homeowners and home buyers over a 5, 10, 15-year period, because, like I said, they may leave Brooklyn, they may enter Staten Island, and they may leave to enter New Jersey. So we really, our intention as we take clients on, is to be their realtor for life, to create a strong, impactful relationship, and to really make sure that they know no one's ever going to have their interest in, top of mind, and be committed to making sure that they experience a high level of service, then we are. We're really, really zoned in on that as a team, as an ops team, and as a sales unit. We don't really concentrate our energies on what money we're going to make today, as much as we actually seek to find people who need us to come into their life and make a difference. And that, to us, is the most rewarding part. And then once you get really good and zoned in and passionate about that, that's what I teach my team, is that it's not about the money. It's really about being the best that you can be for the person that you're coming to serve, whoever that may be. And if we get good at that and we laser beam focus on that and develop that as our leading drive, our driving factor force, the product is endless money and sales, and then we get the opportunity to support our families accordingly.
Excellent. So, Joe, we've got a lot of people probably listening that, there might be successful independent agents that are just starting new, people that run teams. independent brokers. We've got a lot of people that this video will reach. What do you want to let them know about, I guess, exploring eXp, or what should they know?
Well, first, the first thing you want to know about you, right? Know about where you are now, where you see yourself in 5 years. And as Jay, you've told me in the past, is the model that you're currently on going to get you to where you see yourself in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, and you figure out that you're happy and you're good where you are, maybe that's right, depending on your goals. Not everyone has the same goals. Some people do not want to climb the mountain. They just want to sit at the valley and be a part of the view. That's okay. Not everybody's looking to do this at a high level. But if you are, and if you're committed to this industry, you owe it to yourself, really, to just take a look at this. Mm-hmm. I really don't think that anyone can poke fun and holes in this. And I've had some of the smartest people in my world try to do this. And they've come back to me over the past 2 weeks and said, I'm real happy for this opportunity that you've been given and the leaders you're aligning with. So what I'd like people to do is do your own homework. That's really first and foremost. I'm always here. Jay, I'm sure you and Vin. But before you go talking to anyone, do your own research. And then when that eXp fever, I call it, or we call it, sets in, you're going to need to get on the phone. And you're going to need to realize, understand what this is actually about and whether or not it's going to make sense for the vision that you have for yourself or for your team. I mean, there's a large audience out here, and anyone that's listening, I really want to just make sure that we come from the right perspectives, right, Jay?
Right.
There's a few different roles in our industry that this model is now solving, issues that in those roles that this model has set out to solve, right? And to revolutionize. And so whether you're that agent that's in the business that really wants to figure out how to grow their operation, individually, and then maybe even, grow it bigger with a team one day, or you're that, mega agent that's operating and scaling and growing a mega team and, has a huge influence in the industry and followers and people who, trust and see that they've been leaders in their respective markets. Or if you're that broker owner, whether it be you're of a franchise or independent, no matter the walk, this is the most acceptable business model I've ever been able to take a closer look at. And now, when I look at from those three perspectives and realizing that this gives all level playing field to an industry that no one's ever given that opportunity to. Typically with a company, I'll use a franchise model, for example, and Jay, you know this. Mm-hmm. It starts at the top, and then they sell regions, and then the regions, they sell offices or market centers, and then, there's a lot of hands in the pot, mm-hmm. and there's a lot of protocols and people to get through. But to see that now we can all unify with one complete message that all three of those roles in our industry can work hand in hand and align and own something that's never been owned in real estate, which is, your production and maximizing your own production through a cap model such as eXp, and the ability to develop leaders and bring them into your world and have a platform for them to grow with you and then grow beside you and stay in alignment.
Yeah.
It's nothing worse than developing a leader and then them saying, oh, I'm going to go on and move on. And it hurts to see them go, not only from a profit perspective, but you build relationships and you want to keep those relationships. So this has given me that clarity that not only will this be good for me and my family, it will be amazing, but it will be equally as good for everyone else's family. No matter if you just started and walked into my world, or if you've been in my world forever and you just want the same opportunity that these regional owners or these, market center owners have been given. And depending on who you talk about, maybe, taking the profit unjustifiably so, because we're out there, we're the engine, and we deserve to be compensated accordingly. Really, it's long time coming, Jay.
Right, no doubt. It's exciting. It's exciting. I'm every day I wake up and I've got this big old smile on my face, and I know I'm changing people's lives, and I know that I'm in the right place and the right vehicle to do it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be partnering up with you guys. I really am. Joe, you just gave us so much great content. I might have to go back and watch this one.
Yeah.
And that's what we set out for, Vin. I know we spoke yesterday, and when we were strategizing this, our intention was, and just to be clear, call this what you want to call this. We're speaking to our industry right now to provide valuable content, as you had just mentioned, intentionally, so that people could understand why we do what we do and why we do it with who we do it with. That's very important. This changing arena of real estate, there's a lot of change that people are going to fight. Okay. And I think the biggest battle that anyone taking a look at this opportunity is going to have with is what's the catch? Let me see I read the paperwork 10 times. My family has read the paperwork. My attorney has read the paperwork. They've all researched and done their own due diligence accordingly, because none of them would have got back on the phone with me without having done that. You don't need to be educated. You just have to be able to do math, simple math. And then you have to understand and know how to recognize talent and leadership, and at least have some understanding of where we are in this industry and where this is going. That's critical for some people, because it's very easy to lose sight of what's important in real estate. And it's all about the company you keep, right? But not the brand so much, because we're the brand, Jay. Yep. Vin, you're the brand. So what I mean by company that you keep is, I mean the leaders that you keep around you, the people who are pouring into you, right? If you're the smartest person in your world, you need to find a new world.
Yep.
And I've always seeked those worlds that are surrounded or just filled with people who are in positions that far exceed anything that I've been capable of doing alone, but always striving to align with those people. And when you find the right ones and they share and they're an open book, like I've seen now with, you, Jay, and some of the other leaders in this company, it's hard not to want to just make as quick of a move as, all these leaders have been doing, myself included, you, Vin. I mean, it's almost impossible to go to sleep after you realize this information exists.
Yep.
I'm going to put out there a starting point for people. OneBigFireNewYork.com. They could go there, find out some, information about eXp and do their own research from there. I started on a page similar to that, and then I just went to YouTube, and it was nonstop after that. And then everybody watching, you can lean on any one of us for our experience and what helped us make our decisions. Right. I'm just super appreciative of each and every one of you guys, and I'm so excited to be partnering up with you.
Likewise.
All right.
The opportunity Vin, that you've, the path that you've decided to pave, and how I so quickly decided to jump on that, follow that vision. It was really, I think largely due to this, as a top producer or top in the industry, you're in this real estate world and you're looking for the best opportunities, right? So while I was initially really reluctant to do this live, anyone who knows me knows I am certainly not known for going live. It's just not something that I personally have grown to adopt and feel, maximum comfort in. So this even is outside of my comfort zone, and that's hard to do for me because I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. But the reason why I say that is because this gives the industry the opportunity to learn from the best, right? To learn from the best throughout the country, right? And I mean, realistically, this interview, while I was a little reluctant in the beginning, I'm confident that in all probability, it's probably going to be the most intelligent thing that we've done or that I've done in my recent real estate career. Just in order to make sure that the industry is aware of, why we've done these things. And there's some magic happening right now. And so you may not have seen me go live often in the past, Vin and Jay, but I certainly haven't had as much to talk about as I do right now. And I think you're going to see a new person evolve here.
Absolutely. Looking forward to being a part of that and helping expand it.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to aligning with you guys and continuing to build this.
Very good. And thank everybody for watching and checking in over here. We really appreciate you all. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, and taking the time out of your days. All right.
Always.
We'll be in
Always
touch.
a pleasure.
I'll see you in Vegas.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.